Good evening, my fellow Bahamians and women throughout the nation. As we begin the celebrations for National Women's Week, I greet you from Atlanta, Georgia, where I'm celebrating the most important woman in my life, my 84-year-old mother, Dr. Pastor Jane H. White. While it was my intent to be back in Nassau to celebrate their 62nd anniversary of women's empowerment, my priority is to care for and honor the service of my mother, who, along with her friends, as young Bahamian women, sat in the street with Sir Randall Fox, Sir Lyndon Pindling, and the suffragists to bring about the powerful achievement that we are celebrating today. The story is told that during the struggle to achieve universal suffrage, women like Dame Ruby Ann Cooper Darling made her way quickly to the Parliamentary Registration Department to become the first woman to register to vote, while Dames Marguerite Pindling and Jacqueline Folks, along with Dame Dr. Doris Johnson, who led the suffragettes, rallied and inspired young women to do their part to forward the movement. The achievement of the right to vote in 1962 also gave women the compounded liberties to chart a course for their financial, educational empowerment, and their home life. This journey of the early suffragists, they knew deep in their heart that if women participated in the political process as equal partners, the nation would be better. And it mandated that all hands are on deck to protect the future and heritage of the next generation of Bahamians. So, as women, we have pushed to equally contribute by educating ourselves, equipping our potential and our ambition, being available to serve the nation in every area. So, beyond our primary roles as mothers and wives, teachers and cooks, women have become lawyers and doctors, bankers, engineers, linesmen, morticians, union leaders, heads of churches, and cabinet ministers. While we have shared the burden, the ability of women to make a difference on every level of society and home life must not be dismissed as only caregivers and helpers, but also astute decision makers and leaders. Sadly, as we begin this celebration, it is marred by the nation reeling from the brutal rape and violent murder of two females just this past week. It is never easy to consider how a man who enters the world through the birth canal of a woman, who may have sisters and possibly daughters, could possibly proceed to sexually violate and take the life of someone who God has designed to bring life into the world. And me, as a mother in the nation, a member of the Sisterhood of Women, a lifetime activist for women and girls' empowerment in the nation, who have fought for legislation to end violence against women and girls, my heart is heavy and bleeds for what can be the cause of the recent increase of violence against women and girls. While we may not consider that the whole society will be affected by our personal and most private decisions, please think again, because consequently, every personal decision and lifestyle perpetrated in the nation have something to do with murder, as the recent 2022 census result indicates, which is why the nation is faltering. So, therefore, I wish to call upon women to exert a greater power and authority for improving society by the personal decisions that they make regarding marriage, family, and children. According to the National Statistical Institute, regarding the 2022 census, it was revealed that marriages are down 2.5%, that divorces are up 16.3%, and legal separations are up more than 75.6%, which means that the possibility is that less than 15% of people getting married stay married. Just let that sink in for a moment. The census reports also indicate that the rate of children born out of wedlock stands around 62% of all births, indicating that the majority of homes are led by one parent and, sadly, mostly by women bearing the responsibility for provision and protection of their children. The term for choosing to have children out of wedlock and multiple baby daddies is now called parenting. Co parenting is a deception of the devil. He takes the things of God, puts his spin on them, and encouraging us to disobey God. So while co parenting, it is better for a child to grow up with an additional parent participating in their lives, this concept is still creating a high level of insecurity among children, with both males and female children experiencing different levels of some feeling of abandonment. And while all will not turn to negativity because of their single parent home, many children, by the time they are teenagers and young adults, their psyche is skewed regarding how they should love, live, and influence society. Consequently, for every action, there is a reaction, and for every cause, there is an effect. And more to the core of the data we just revealed is the fact that as a society, we are exercising our free will to operate out of the will of our Creator. But as we celebrate National Women's Week, I am calling on young women and young men to reconsider your contribution to society and be vigilant that your decision to grow the population without creating families places a significant spiritual drag on the overall state of the nation. You must be aware that this activity continues to spit in the face of God regarding the number one priority for the creation of humanity, which is to be fruitful and multiply and raise children in the environment of family and marriage. This is the ideal, even though not perfect. I wish to encourage young people, especially young women, to choose celibacy before marriage. If you cannot be celibate, stop having unprotected sex with men if you don't want to create a baby. And for young men and women, if you do create a child, try to make the relationship work. I love to see and encourage young people to get married young. Once they have achieved or can calculate the educational goals, settle down, have children, purchase a home together. It promotes prosperity because this idea of having 2 and 3 baby mamas or daddies must be discouraged, despised, and looked down upon. But this is with the view to create a powerful and morally sound nation, strong marriages, and healthy families. This is how we create a great nation. This is how we produce godly seeds. This is how we stop producing murderers. Therefore, I wish to caution Prime Minister Greg Davis regarding his secular stance against the death penalty, against the wishes of the people, I say, saying that he don't want to punish the criminals, he want to prevent and not commit murder. But the state implementation of the law regarding the death penalty is not murder. It is called justice. And the blood of the innocent cries out for justice. And only strong leaders have the courage to do the right thing and return to the death penalty, despite liberal secularism designed to keep nations weak and morally corrupted with no view of God in its governance and national life. So how can prime ministers who have been elected to lead and protect the state, sworn to carry out the law, make a determination to abandon his responsibility? Which asks the question, is he a weak or strong leader? But as we continue to celebrate, I'm calling on all women to rise up to the challenge of mandating the protection of the nation. We women must raise a standard. And I wish to applaud the women who protested this past week to champion this cause for safety for women and children in the nation. I support their efforts despite my absence. I support Senate President Michelle Adley when she declares we must bring back hanging. I support Candy Gibson for her plea, saying we must establish what the worst of the worst is. And for the second time in a month, I reiterate my call for the return of the death penalty for all guilty verdict for first-degree murders. No plea deals, no bail, no multiple bails for those charged with murder. I call on the powers that be to return to the death penalty as a deterrent and a punishment for murder. Let us close the door for murder cases to appeal to the Privy Council by providing legislation to suspend these requests. And like attorney Maria Daxon said, if we must, let's change the method of capital punishment from hanging to lethal injections. And I am sure everyone will agree that we don't care how you do it, just get it done. I remember in 2015 when we protested in Rawson Square for Marcos Law, We thought that it is never too early to issue an alert, and I am of the opinion that the system and the village failed young Ariel. God rest her soul. And as her mother confirmed, where was the village when she needed it? My fellow Bahamians, leadership expert John Maxwell said everything rises and falls on leadership. Therefore, I repeat, it is the responsibility of the government to provide a clear path for safety and security in the nation. I am convinced that only a massive reset of national leadership can begin a process of new positive energy in the nation. And what is happening in the nation is not about what the government says or what the government does, but what is being felt by the people. The spirit of the nation must change. It is the only way what is happening in the nation to stop. Only God, a higher authority, can facilitate a change. And only a declaration of national leadership by both leaders and the people can make that happen. I believe we need a spirit of truth in purity, a spirit of goodness and unity, a spirit of brotherly love and camaraderie, of sisterly unity, till the road we trod leads us unto God. As I close, I wish to recognize the good men in the nation who aspire for greatness, to encourage them to lift up a standard, to protect and empower our women and children. For when women are lifted, the society is lifted. When women prosper, the society prospers. When women are empowered, the nation is exalted. In closing, I wish to extend to all women and girls happy National Women's Week, and may God bless and keep safe all the residents of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I thank you for your time.